I did say here that we've had, haters in our communities, dating over 100 years back. And we've always had minor quarrels settled by the village heads in those years. But that suddenly, it could be because of the failure of Libya and also crisis in some other West African countries. The haters that have been trained violently with AK-47 began to infiltrate, into Nigeria, and Southeast not an exception. And so these are the people that now initiated a different dimension of haters farmers crisis. And that's where they began to kill, our people. They began to rape the women. And then the people began to also react, back to them. This is how we came to the conclusion, in the sense that when some of them are arrested, and of course you should know better than me, they don't speak, even our language. You will see it, and of course, even the security agencies at the federal level, they have also attested to this fact that most of these things are perpetrated by this. Have they indoctrinated our local headers? Yes. I love what El-Rufai said sometime. He said that, the issue of paying ransom, and I support him on non-payment of ransom, that why would the header continue to, raise cattle for, their big men, where he can just do one single kidnap and then could get 20 million. And so you see that, tell me your friends, I'll tell you whom you are. And sometimes the local headers believe that the foreign headers are fighting for them. And why do I say so? When the attack came on Ebonyi State, all the headers that we've been doing everything to protect, they all left the state without any information to us. So that's how we came to that conclusion, and it's still subsisting. Presence of security men on the road. Let me take it in two dimensions. Before now, when this security was not there so much, we have always had this influx of, security people at the roads, in Southeast. And I've asked questions. Why is it that you have these people in Southeast? So somebody told me not to mention the name. Say, look, when you stop a man in the North, he will be very patient with you. He said, let's go to the station. He will go to the station with you. He will sit down, and you will be tired, and you will release him. He will not give you any kobo. But that our people are so much in a haste. And even when they are right, they still want to, give you something so that you let them go. And that's the reason why, where commerce thrives, you will definitely see people around there, and this time security people. So that's what was happening. And even myself, most of the time before now, I was preaching to dismantle a lot of roadblocks, which happened before this insecurity increased. And sometimes I'm on the road, I had to stop and then release, vehicles that lined up, Do they extort money? Yes. Even their leaders are not saying that they don't, but it's been preached against. And I continue to tell them that one of the reasons of the answers is what people pass through, at the road. Nigerians are already traumatized, because of the economy, which is a global problem. And so stopping them, on the roads unjustifiably is not the best. But as my position changed, yes. If arms are being transported, I cannot tell the security agencies how to do their work. And if security agencies are killed, I cannot tell them how to protect themselves. So that is the reason. And I think the moment this insecurity is over in Southeast, and I think it's a region apart from the Northeast, where security people are being killed, where police stations are burnt, where anarchy offices are burnt, is very unholy. And this is not the character and culture of our people. So, and that shows you that it's criminality. Amos, kidnapping of Amos, I've directed for full-scale security investigation on that. But my little conviction is that it's self-inflicted kidnap to further tarnish, our image. There is so much, politics in Ebonyi State since I defected to APC. And the point is that I said I will not endorse anybody for any position that I've seen it doesn't work, that the people will do it. And so there is a heightened, level of desperation that they call themselves opposition. For example, this Amos was, my coordinator. But he was going to instigate war, in this country. And how was it? He organized youths that attacked the headers that did not do anything to them. No crop was destroyed, together with the other, the same development center coordinator in one of the Afibo North local government. Then the other coordinator killed somebody in broad daylight with AK-47. And so the NGOs were me, and I had to remove them from office. And the records of the killings in these 3 locations are very clear and are there. And the headers were going to attack us. I made peace, and they pay compensation according to our law. Because our law in the state is that if you, destroy headers, cows, you will pay compensation. If you kill them, we will pay compensation to bury, and then you will also face the court. The same thing with headers against farmers. So that's the law subsisting, and it's been guiding us. So this is what we did. And so these same boys now went about saying that they were not giving vehicle. They darken council without knowledge, in the sense that by RAMFAC salary scale, I give vehicle as a kind of welfare something. It's not compulsory, it's not part of their package. And the vehicle we give is for the office, it's not for individuals. And this is part of this. They said they were not paid interest. Budget is an estimate. And so it's not that you must, and asking that they be paid interest while they're out of office. So it is just unethical. And funny enough, some of them are lawyers. And so to further distract me, which I have refused to be distracted, they said that he was kidnapped. They announced the kidnap. They announced the release. They announced the treatment. And so it is a whole funny situation. And the police has discovered something. The particular Amos is also into gun running. They discovered, bullets, in his vehicles. And so it's very funny for somebody who's been jumping from one place to the other to be kidnapped. What do I need to kidnap him about? The miracles of the state are speaking for itself. And the people you represent are failed politicians who have had opportunities to, help the people. They appropriated the wealth of the state, to themselves. And they have directed that they should go and look for their code of conduct feelings. And then we will expose it to the public so that people will see what they were before now and what they are now. So that is that. So it's not, I don't lose sleep about that because my hands are very clean, and I'm a child of God. I'm not a politician. The objective of certain offices of INEC, this thing, a lot of people have been brainwashed in Southeast, about Biafra. The Biafra I desire is a Biafra of the mind, a Biafra of development, a Biafra where each state of Southeast, we deploy the resources that we are getting from the center and from IGR to develop our place. That's the Biafra I see. I see a Biafra of equity and justice all over the regions. That's what I see. So some of them have been indoctrinated to say there will be no election in 2023. And that's very dangerous, because if you say there will be no election in your region, then the National Assembly could make an emergency law to say, okay, there will be emergency rule there. And there is nothing you can do about it. Because INEC offices are not being burnt in Southwest and in other parts of this thing. So it is a very terrible mindset for anybody to be doing this. And we don't know who is doing this, but I know that there are criminals. We still have one constitution. Whether it is, rightly put together or wrongly, it's still a constitution. And until it's changed, nobody can do anything about that. Ban on open grazing. The position of Southern governors. And what my brother and friend, the AGF, said. I may not want to comment so much on what he said, because I read it on social media, but I would like to put the facts, the way it is, A lot of us do not understand what is this open grazing and what is closed grazing. if in my faith, my faith says that if your right hand will cause you, to sin, cut it off. That is better to go to heaven with, a hand that is short of one than to go to hellfire. Now, from the beginning of age, our relationship with herders, the farmers and the herders. Don't forget, my father was a farmer all through. My mother was a farmer all through. I grew, I was trained, and all my brothers and sisters were all trained from the, farm activities. And so the situation, traditional situation has been that, we have cows that station in one, a farm settlement, so to say. And then after certain season, by reason of, shifting cultivation, they will now move. The farmer will come and say, please, I want you to move this cattle to this location, because they will fertilize the land, and the herder will benefit because there will be grasses and the byproduct of farming activities on those places. And that's what, we've been having. We've never been having cattle that are roaming the roads. And I tell you that the asphalt road, the moment the sheet drops on the asphalt road, it makes it within seconds. And they go through these roads and they pass through farms. In the southeast, you don't have cattle routes. But in the north, we have cattle routes. And so nobody is going to say ban, open grazing, in some areas in the north where there are cattle routes, where they move constitutionally from one point to the other. But in the south, there is no cattle route. And so for you to move from one point to the other, you have to move through farms. You have to move through, population, dense areas. And this is not very good. And that's what the southern governors, and of course Southeast in particular, are saying. Let's go back to our traditional method of relationship. We will no longer allow you to take your cattle from one local government to the other. And the implication is that these foreign herders also come in terms of, mobile herders with AK-47. So that is a source of conflict. So anybody that is saying that there should be no ban on this thing is, on the other hand, saying that, look, these killings will continue. And that's what gave birth to ESN. Whether we support it as governors, we don't. But the people tend to support it because of the foreign herders that pretend that they are rearing cattle and then they are killing. In my own village, a white man was kidnapped in my village that's doing construction, by these foreign herders. So all that the southern governors are saying is let us go back to our traditional kind of relationship. I don't support cattle to move from one state to the other. I don't support that. And northern governors have said, look, we ban this. And we've encouraged the federal government, let's treat this, cattle raiding as a business. Take money from the federation account and develop ranches where they are designated ranches, especially in the north. And the northern governors are willing, but it's been frustrated. I'm sure that when you develop these ranches in the north, a lot of movement will cease going to the south. We want to live in peace. We want to live as brothers and sisters. And if your right hand will cause you to sin, cut it off. And I think that is a fair deal to say, let, movement of cattle from one point to the other, be stopped. And every reasonable Nigerian, we understand this. But the truth is that people do not understand what is this open grazing and so on and so forth. Nobody is saying that the header should not be in Southeast. But it should be treated as a business. These papers, people go to the west, they go to the north, other regions. They buy a land. They buy a shop. They rent a shop. And so that is the traditional method of business doing. You cannot enter people's land without their knowledge. It's not done anyway. And I think there is no Southeast person that enters any region, and set up a business without proper permission. So that is the truth about, the open grazing thing. I think people misunderstand it. They don't really understand it. What were we doing before? And so we should do what we were doing before that gave us peace. foreign headers responsible for mayhem, and we still said that we are killing ourselves. There are two different kinds of situation. We had developed from the minor, misunderstanding by way of the traditional relationship in the past with farmers and headers. So it was there before. And then along the line, we now started to encounter a lot of killings and raping from the foreign headers. We also bring their cattle, from one state to the other, from one region to the other. And that's the killings and the raping we are talking about. That is a different thing from what is happening in terms of killing of security people, burning of houses of security people, burning of INEC, this thing. Yes, because security people have also engaged these people in a gun battle and they have brought them down. We've not seen any foreign header. We've not seen any foreigner. We've not seen people of other regions. And these security people that are being killed, 99% of them are from Southeast. So we are killing ourselves. And those that are falling by the bullets of security people by way of, attacking them at the checkpoints, of course they have guns. They also exchange, firepower. When you see them, you see that they are our brothers and sisters. And this is not good for us. Because our youths are giving themselves to be slaughtered. And this is making us to shed tears. And they are being indoctrinated. I see some people, prominent people from other regions, trying to incite us. They pretend they want to fight for us. How can you fight for us? During the war, did you fight for us? It's a way of inciting our people to go into war, go into crisis, so that we can experience another set of betrayals. And I say to our people, be wise. Be wise. We are given to wisdom. We should deploy the wisdom at this critical time. So that is the different kinds of relationship vis-a-vis insecurities, right now. Attack in INEC office and, presidency. The youths have their mindset. And that's why I'm doing everything possible in my state to to increase value for education. I'm sure that somebody who studied medicine, who studied engineering, who is a graduate will not go to carry gun. Will not listen to anybody telling him to go and die. We're not going to listen to a juju person that tells you that, look, with this juju on you, no bullet will enter you. And bullets are entering. And some people asked me, why are you asking for the census of, juju people? Yes, because in my local government, one of my local government areas, a juju man, herbalist, he kidnapped 2 people and buried them alive. And so we didn't know how to locate him. It took the efforts of a link, which I won't mention, to find him. He's in the cell now. And so we want to know, who are these juju people? Who are these people deceiving our boys? Because some that have had the courage to engage security people in a gun battle and they were failed. You see juju tied all over them. And you see the security agencies going to their shrine to destroy it. And so the shrine has not been able to respond. So that's the problem. So they are deceiving our people to go and die. It's undue courage, that is also laden with, hard drugs. So I can't explain if the burning of INEC offices has anything to do with, 2023 presidency, for Southeast. And of course, should I not say that the Southeast deserve presidency for 2023? But I leave it to you. The solution to killings in Southeast and allegation of NAS on their lives. I have no, I'm a child of God, I'm a peaceful person. They are just afraid of Ebubeagu. But their fear will be heightened because if those NAS members come to the state and cause trouble, this same Ebubeagu will arrest them all. Not even the police. The Ebubeagu will arrest them. Whether you're a former governor or a senator or whatever, if you come and cause trouble, you are not above the law of the state. There is a law that establishes Ebubeagu, And so if you can stay here and they talk, but if you come down there and, you cause trouble, you'll be arrested by this Ebubeagu and taken to law court to defend you. People talking about their lives are the same people that were in offices and they wasted the lives of our people. The matter is still in court. You see, I blame the federal government so much because you allow these people to be moving about with security agencies and they are there causing trouble. They have very terrible people that appropriated the weight of the state to themselves. People that had no means of livelihood before, they've never counted 1 million. They now have mansions and they go about to talk all kinds of rubbish. So I have no value to go after their lives. They are just being afraid of Ebubeagu. But Ebubeagu is the demand of the Southeast. He has come to stay and is going to function. They said only me has, this thing. Imo State has signed their own into law. I have not even signed my own, even though it's been passed. So other states will do the same thing. So it's the fear of Ebubeagu that is the beginning of their wisdom. You have to tell them. Solution to the situation in Southeast. I have done stakeholders meetings in the 13 local government. I've done 7 days prayers. I've deployed the widows to fast and pray. I've deployed the elders council to go around and talk to our people in all over. I've deployed the founding fathers to go and talk. I've deployed CAN to go around and talk. All this talking, we are getting results. Some of the bad boys are pulling out and are surrendering to us and are giving us information. This is very important. But my position is that these people are our boys. They are our people. They are our children. It pleases me not to have them killed. So I'm trying to debrief them. I'm trying to let them know that what they're agitating for can be solved through dialogue. So we've demanded as governors of Southeast, all our youths, let us know your demands. Give us your demands. We will come to the center to address it. If after 6 months we have not substantially addressed it, we can join you for the agitation. But right now, we don't support you. We don't support you to insult the president, to insult leaders of Southeast, to insult other leaders. That is not agitation, it's foolishness. Agitation is agitation. And when people support them and they are from outside the country, is that the way protests are done outside the country? So we have to tell ourselves the truth. If we want to address marginalization and the exclusiveness in the affairs of the nation, we have to, as people of wisdom, people of God, deploy wisdom in doing that. We shouldn't go by way of violence or allow people to hijack the peaceful, demands of our people. This is our position. Yeah. Okay. Did you call it MBC, the Bureau of Statistics or something? Saying that my state and Jigawa is my very good brother and friend. And we share a lot in common in terms of the love for our people and development. The truth remains that, I've listed out what you are doing in the state that, devalued that report. It devalued it because the basis of the report is unknown to me. If you go to every part of Ebonyi state, it's a construction site. If 95% of my fund is within the state, and I want anybody to disprove that, if we are creating a lot of infrastructure that, create jobs on its own, if we are creating a lot of, institutions that create jobs on their own, we are doing 1 man, 1 hectare. We have the solid mineral sector that we are also empowering our people. We have the agriculture. We have, the clusters and so on and so forth. So I don't see how there is poverty. There can only be poverty for those who don't want to work. One area we must address in this country, and I want the press to help in this direction, is that a lot of us don't like to work again. We don't like to work again. There are a lot of opportunities that have been provided by the federal government. Even though apart from additional, SA to, what's the name that is in France now? Yes, Garuba, and then office of the vice president, and few ministries. They are not really, saying what the federal government has done. In terms of empowerment, there is no government that I know that has, come up with programs, to empower the people. Is it the Empower? Is it so many of them that, time will fail me to mention. So it is for people. You will see somebody that is involved in over 10 of them. One person. And the person is the person developing. The answer is no. So there is a need to go back to the culture of working. Look at the China. We want to be like China. We want to be like the West. When we go outside this country, what do we see? Do we see people idling? Do we see people begging for money? You see people that are committed to doing things. They are very proud doing whatever they are doing. Do you know why we also don't have employment here? I think we have people not to employ. Not that we don't have, employment. Because no big man, whether the money is stolen or the money is earned, we want to set up, an industry. You prefer to put the money in the bank and then collect the interest. Because the moment you set up something, you see, people who didn't know how you made the money, they want to liquidate that thing. We have to address it. And I'm sure that even your drivers, your house helps, you face the same challenge. So we face it in a greater measure. We have to go back to the culture of not blaming leaders. We have to also find out what they led. What are they doing? Are they willing? Is somebody willing to, do something with his hands than to be a counselor? This is the fact, So every state is doing quite a lot to empower their people because the success of the people. That's why when I give out, loans to farmers and youths and they don't return it, at the time to return, they tell you that there was flood, the destiny. You have to endure it because it's still within their pocket. It's creating wealth for them. So the government has to be it. But we have to find a way to shift and begin to preach, the need for everybody to have something doing. What has taken this country over is politics. Politics. And we leaders, a lot of us are not being honest. There's no amount of ICPC or EFCC that can make a leader. It is just the fear of God, passion for the people, needing to leave legacies. Because what are you doing with this money? Some have billions. Little kidney problems. The person will not know what is going on again. So there's a need to invest in the people. But the people have to also be available to be invested on. This is very important, And if you go to an average Westerner, the person is contented, with the means of his livelihood. We are not. We want to have 10 cars, even where there is no space to park it, we park it on the road, So this is a problem. We have to be contented. And we need to begin to know that where our rights stop, other people's own will begin from there. So we have done quite a lot to provide a means of livelihood to reduce poverty. We inherited poverty and we have demolished it to a very large extent. But we still leave some traces of poverty behind. Even our Lord Jesus Christ said that there will always be poor among us. Minimum wage in Ebonyi. The minimum we pay, which the minimum wage, we are not happy about it, 30,000, Some of you do, course of more than 30,000 in 1 week. So it's not enough. I'm not happy with that minimum wage, Are some states not able to pay? Yes. Do you want them to make magic? And so if states are not able to pay, they have to cut down on the workforce. This is very important. And if they have means of empowering them, even if they get a loan, to establish business for them, it will increase the IGR of the state than to have workers that are hungry and angry. They are not able to get their salary. And you say the governor should fold his hands. Because some governors don't look for tomorrow. They don't think about the continuity of the state. They come to power, they employ all their brothers and sisters. They employ them to punish them. But instead of employing my people, I would rather empower them, establish business for them, which will be enduring and then lasting for them. No politician leaves, position for the children. you live, wealth in a way of calmness, in establishment for your children. And this is one thing we do not know. So, we are paying minimum wage, but those who are not able to pay, they should sit down with their governors and agree on way forward. Don't expect the governor to spend 100% of what he gets to pay salaries. No governor was elected to come and pay salaries. And remember, the workforce is about 10% of the population. The money the governor gets is a product of the population of that district. And so everybody is involved in it. And you can't cater for only one section of the society. This is very important. So 30,000 not even enough for workers. But where you can pay, sit down with your governor in sincerity. Let him show you the books. Financial autonomy. I don't know, say there is a committee. Yes, there may be a committee, but the committee, whatever is their position, does not override the constitution. I've appeared on channels sometimes, and I say I don't know what we are talking about. For some of us in some states, are we talking about increase in funding, or are we talking about autonomy? If it is autonomy, and what is the definition of autonomy? That every money that is due to the judiciary or the legislature in line with the budget is given to them, as we receive, we give to them. We cannot give them a percentage of the budget because we have not received the total budget. So if your budget is, say, 10 billion or 12 billion, you say we should divide it by 12 and every month we should give you 1 billion. You can't get that. Budget is a mere estimate. It is a product. The performance is a product of what you get. And it's what you get is what you give. And no section of the society must suffer. Now, the one they are talking that is very funny to me is to set up, a committee that when you bring money, let the legislature sit, the executive will sit, the judiciary will sit to share the money. I say, well, even if it means my resigning, I will not do that. Because if you want us to sit, three of us to sit, we have to bring the market women. We have to bring the security people. We have to bring the labor people. We have to bring the bandits. Everybody that contributes to this population must come to sit on the same table for us to share it. And we know the amount of roads the legislatures will do, the amount of security that the judiciary will cater for, what the executives will do, and it will be published so that the society will monitor all of us. You cannot tell me to share the money amongst three of us in secret and I'll come and take the bad name in public. I don't want to do that, and I will not do that. But what we have even seen is that we have checked the budget of the judiciary and we've checked the performance the first quarter. And we've even doubled in terms of what we give them. So if they're supposed to receive like 2% of the budget, you understand, and you divide it by 12 and multiply by the first quarter, what have they gotten? It's more than twice, both the legislature and the state. And so it is not about, being legalistic. It's about understanding. If we say to ourselves, we want to build 10 courts, we want to construct 10 roads, we want to build 10 schools, we want to build the legislature's houses, we have to sit together and incorporate it in the budget. And then as money is coming based on performance, we'll be able to say, okay, this is what we do. This is what we do. This is what we do. This is understanding. But I don't think that what is facing the country today is autonomy. That is not the issue. And I think this is, diverting the national attention to what we should do. Look at the local government say autonomy. Yes, I don't touch the money of local government. It goes direct to them. But when workers don't receive their salaries, it is me that attack. They don't attack the local government. And I'm telling them that, look, this is autonomy. They say no. Local government chairmen go to obtain loans in the bank, without the approval of the House of Assembly, without the approval of the governor. And you talk to them, say, sir, it's autonomy, But the law did not say that you can do that without the governors and the House of Assembly approval. Even we are not even permitted as governors to obtain loan without approval of the House of Assembly, and the federal government has banned that. But this is happening. Last month, we couldn't pay salary in one of the local government areas. Why? because the former chairman had obtained loans of 50 million, and this is a local government that gets subvention to pay salaries. But the bank gave it to them. And so I'm prosecuting the bank manager, and then because they are causing insecurity where workers cannot get their payments because of fraud. So that is the thing about autonomy. I don't know if we are talking, every state should allow the people, they want to buy vehicle, give them the money within the limit of your resources and accordance with the budget, give it to them. There are a lot of things that come up, outside the budget, which you have to do for the face of the state, because the governor is the face of the state. And this is very important. So this is about the autonomy. This autonomy is very confusing because we don't know whether it's financial increase, or it is whatever is due to them, accordance with what you receive should be given to them. If that is the case, we are doing that in Ebonyi State. To increase the finances, we have also increased, but there's no particular percentage. It is based on needs that we do, and of course opportunity cost. Do I support Otom on his order that is, everybody should carry arm in his state? You're talking about Benue State and Ebonyi State. I represent Ebonyi State. I swore to protect the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria. So anything within the Constitution, I do. And I believe other governors will also defend the oath of their offices. But if he's been so traumatized that unconstitutional words came out of his mouth, it may be because of his situation. So it means he needs help, as a son to federal government. This is my position. South is demanding for presidency. If they don't get it, will I still be in APC? What is my position? I'm in APC party, and it's not conditional. It's not predicated on getting a presidency to Southeast or not. The truth remains that if we are talking about justice, should be their turn. The government of Nigeria should look for the best over there, irrespective of party, and they deploy. And I can tell you that, there is no good person you bring in Southeast that is going to be preaching seceding, because we are better off in Southeast. Stay under a fair federal government, especially we in Ebonyi State. So this is important, and nobody should know the Ebonyi State needs more than myself. After all, we were made to be, housemates and, houseboys until Ebonyi State was created. And we started our own agitation for self-determination within the Committee of Southeast. So we are still struggling to come up, even though we are being pressed, but we are struggling. And the federal government is helping us. So why should we not ask for a fair Nigeria so that we continue to distance? So, brother, that's my position. Libya. Yeah, you know very well you are in Villa here, and you've heard the president that said the same thing, that, the crisis is because of foreign headers. And he said that, of course, Gaddafi was training, arms bandits, maybe to protect him or whatever thing. And when it's no longer there, they had to find their ways, and it's very unfortunate what is happening in Libya. Libya is totally destroyed, and it's very unfortunate. I don't know what conspiracy, whether it is intercontinental or international or national or whatever conspiracy that came upon Libya, but Libya is no longer there, So Mr. President has said it severally. So the question of using the governors to president of federal government, I think they are doing their best, but don't forget that we don't manufacture any of this equipment for, security. And rightly or wrongly, the impression a lot of us have is that, the international community has not given, adequate attention to what is happening here, where our sister, countries are invading the state with this thing, and our borders are so porous. Don't forget, we don't have the right size of the army. Don't forget that we have a population that our resources, are struggling to match. Don't forget that this administration came where a kind of landmines were already laid in terms of poverty level, in terms of, debt, in terms of, these agitations here and there that were not addressed. Things give birth to things. Things grow. If it is insecurity, it has to grow. If it's poverty, it has to grow. Unless if it were addressed, if they were addressed at the time they were just trying to come up. So I think that with the equipment coming in now, these things will be addressed. And anybody saying that $1 billion US dollars fund for arms, was stolen under this administration is a liar, because that money came from our savings, and we have approved it in NEC, and we have demanded for account of it, which the Honorable Minister for Finance gave us adequate account for it. That somebody came and said, well, I've not studied the file very well, and I'm not aware. The person has studied the file and is now aware. And some of the equipments have started arriving. Some will also arrive in July. So I think that these foreign heathers, machineries will be adequately addressed as God helps us in getting some of this equipment. But let me close by saying that, it's not a question of Mr. President. It's not a question of governors. It's a question of patriotism. The level of patriotism in this country is very low, And people are already saying 2023. When we have not secured 2021, whatever that will happen in the constitutional amendment, can we make these political offices very, very unattractive? Can we make the National Assembly to be part-time? Can those who have made mark in their companies, in their life endeavors, be encouraged to come up as leaders of this country? Why should a man who never had 10 million be given the responsibility to oversee 100 billion? What do you think it will happen? So these are the issues. So we see, governance as a means of enriching ourselves. We see it as another means of, a company, which we own and which we are developing. So we have to discourage this. This is very, very important. And I think that the resources should be, given more to the states. And we have a means of how do we monitor. We are not sincere. When people see us as governors, say, you are doing very, very well. Even when we know we are not doing well, because you are looking for something. You go out there, you criticize us very terribly. Can we tell the governors, the leaders, the truth? And then that will help so much. So I want to thank you very, very highly. I believe that with the press, unfortunately, you have no hands in the fake news circulating. I watch the newspapers. I said to them that anything you don't see in channels or NTA, please, it is fake news. The newspapers report, and of course other media houses, the newspapers have been doing extremely very, very well, But how do we control this fake news that is taking the center stage in our polity? It is a very big problem. It's fueling the insecurity. How do we control our leaders, even those in government, coming out to talk anyhow? Because people talk as if there is no tomorrow, as if they don't care, even if they hold this thing. But those who are being killed are the poor women and men and children. So we need to address this. Patriotism is all that is needed to fight this insecurity and poverty. This is very important. Again, I want to thank you very, very much. I believe God spoke through me, so I assure myself I have not disappointed you. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, distinguished gentlemen of the press. You know that what I'm about to do now, His Excellency has almost done it. He did the vote of thanks along with his presentation. My duty is just to say thank you to you gentlemen of the press. Thank you for being partners with us in trying to inform and educate Nigerians about what government is doing. Partly, I know you will do. Kindly report what he has said fairly and justly. And then I also want to thank all members of the State House communications team who are here. Some are on this side of the hall, but let me recognize Ogemodi, who is here, what he is doing and has done in Ebonyi. That shows you that insecurity and development are interconnected. So it's something we appreciate, Your Excellency. Thank you very much. Once again, gentlemen of the press, we thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.